There are many things we do every day that are not actually difficult, yet they feel heavy. Sending an email, making a phone call, folding laundry, starting a task, beginning a workout, having a conversation, making a decision, organizing a room, preparing a meal, finishing something we already started. The action itself is often simple, but the experience of the action feels weighted. It feels like something more than just the task. It feels like something about us is involved, something about identity, something about expectation, something about whether we are doing life correctly. Many ordinary activities become psychologically heavy not because of the activity, but because of what thought quietly adds to the activity. Thought adds commentary, evaluation, comparison, pressure, expectation, meaning, and suddenly something simple feels significant, feels loaded, feels like something that must be done correctly, completely, efficiently, or consistently in order for something else to feel okay. The task itself may take 10 minutes, but the mental weight around the task may last all day. This is one of the most common ways psychological weight appears in everyday life. Simple things begin to feel bigger than they are, because the mind connects them to a larger narrative. If I don't do this, I'm falling behind. If I don't finish this, I'm not disciplined. If I don't stay consistent, I'm not committed. If I don't keep up, I'm not responsible. If I don't improve, I'm stuck. If I don't follow through, something is wrong with me. The task becomes symbolic. It becomes proof of something, proof of motivation, proof of capability, proof of progress, proof of identity. But most tasks are not actually identity statements. They are simply tasks, practical actions within daily life. When tasks are treated as reflections of personal adequacy, they begin to feel heavier than they need to be. Because now each small action carries psychological meaning. Each small action feels like it must support a larger story. A story about whether life is on track, whether progress is happening, whether things are okay. But life is not determined by any single small action. Life unfolds through patterns of participation over time. One moment rarely defines everything. One task rarely determines everything. Yet the mind often loads small actions with large meaning. This creates resistance. Because when something feels psychologically significant, hesitation increases. The mind wants to get it right, wants to feel ready, wants to feel motivated, wants to feel clear. But clarity is not always required for simple action. Many things become clearer through doing, through beginning, through engaging the task itself. Often the hardest part of doing something is carrying the idea of doing it, thinking about it, evaluating it, measuring it, preparing internally for it. The anticipation becomes heavier than the action, because the mind fills the space with interpretation. How long will this take? Will I do it well? Should I do something else first? Am I in the right mindset? Should I wait until I feel more motivated? Is this the best use of my time? Does this even matter? These questions create friction. Friction slows movement. Friction increases hesitation. Friction turns simple actions into internal negotiations. But many daily activities do not require negotiation. They simply require beginning. Washing dishes rarely becomes easier through extended analysis. Starting often reduces resistance more than thinking about starting. Movement often dissolves hesitation. Action often simplifies thought. But when thought is heavily involved before action begins, the task often grows in perceived size. Something small begins to feel large. Something simple begins to feel important. Something ordinary begins to feel defining. Psychological weight accumulates quietly through this process, not because life demands heaviness, but because interpretation adds layers. Layers of expectation, layers of meaning, layers of evaluation, layers of identity. When these layers are present, simple actions feel loaded. But what happens when a task is allowed to simply be a task? Just something to do. Not something that must represent something about you. Not something that must fix something internally. Not something that must prove something. Just a practical step within daily life. Often the experience changes immediately. The action becomes clearer, lighter, more direct, more approachable, more workable, because the mind is no longer adding additional weight. Many things that feel difficult are actually neutral until thought adds interpretation. The activity itself may require effort, but effort is not the same as heaviness. Effort can feel clean, simple, direct. Heaviness often comes from added meaning, added pressure, added narrative. Consider how different the same task can feel depending on the mental context around it. Cooking can feel enjoyable one day and exhausting the next. Cleaning can feel satisfying one day and overwhelming the next. Working can feel engaging one day and draining the next. Often the difference is not the activity. It is the mental environment surrounding the activity. When thought says this must go well, tension appears. When thought says this must matter, pressure appears. When thought says this reflects something about me, hesitation appears. But when the activity is allowed to simply exist as part of living, something relaxes. Attention moves more freely. Energy flows more naturally. Participation feels easier. This does not mean effort disappears. Effort still exists. Time is still used. Energy is still applied. But the psychological burden decreases. Because the activity is no longer required to resolve internal questions about identity. Many people unknowingly use productivity as emotional reassurance, trying to feel okay by completing tasks, trying to feel secure by staying busy, trying to feel confident by maintaining progress, trying to feel valuable by accomplishing things. This creates pressure, because now each task must contribute to emotional stability. Each task must help maintain a sense of self. Each task must confirm adequacy. But emotional stability rarely comes from constant productivity, because the need for reassurance continues. The next task appears, then the next, then the next. The feeling of needing to stay ahead continues. But when tasks are allowed to simply be part of participation in life, pressure often decreases. The task does not need to secure identity. It only needs to be done, one thing at a time, step by step. Not everything must feel important in order to matter. Some things matter simply because they are part of living, part of maintaining daily life, part of participating in reality. Not everything must feel meaningful. Some things are simply functional. Functional does not mean unimportant. It means practical, necessary, appropriate, but not psychologically loaded. There is freedom in allowing some things to remain simple. Not every action must carry symbolic meaning. Not every activity must contribute to personal transformation. Not every task must feel significant. Some things are just part of living, and living includes many small actions. When small actions are allowed to remain small, life often feels more manageable, more breathable, more workable. Because attention is not constantly evaluating significance, just responding to what is in front of you, doing what can be done, moving through the day, handling what appears. When the mind stops turning everything into a personal statement, participation often becomes easier. There is less hesitation, less resistance, less internal friction. Action becomes part of flow rather than part of self-definition. Many people feel stuck not because they cannot act, but because they feel each action must feel meaningful before they begin. But meaning often develops through participation, through involvement, through engagement, not always in advance. Some meaning appears through doing. Some satisfaction appears through completion. Some clarity appears through movement. Waiting for perfect motivation often delays simple action unnecessarily. Motivation often increases after beginning. Momentum often builds through engagement. Clarity often develops through interaction. But when tasks feel psychologically heavy, beginning becomes harder, because the mind believes something important is at stake. Something about identity, something about progress, something about self-worth. But most tasks do not determine these things. They simply contribute to daily living. Participation in life does not need to feel heavy to be valid. Doing things without making them heavy allows action to remain accessible, workable, possible, even when energy is not perfect, even when mood is not perfect, even when clarity is not perfect. Perfection is rarely required for participation. Participation itself often improves conditions. When you begin something, information appears, experience appears, feedback appears. The task becomes real rather than imagined. Imagined difficulty often exceeds actual difficulty, because imagination includes uncertainty, but real experience includes information. Information reduces ambiguity, reduces hesitation, reduces uncertainty. The mind often creates weight through anticipation, but action often reduces that weight. Even small action can shift internal experience. Sending the email, starting the document, putting away the clothes, beginning the conversation, making the appointment, taking the step. Often the step itself is not as difficult as the thinking about the step, because the thinking includes evaluation, prediction, concern, self-reference. But the action often includes direct engagement with reality, and reality often proves more workable than imagined scenarios. Doing things without making them heavy does not mean doing everything quickly. It means allowing actions to remain proportionate to what they are. Small actions remain small. Medium actions remain medium. Large actions remain large. Not everything needs to feel large. Not everything needs to feel defining. Not everything needs to feel important. Some things are simply steps. Steps within daily life. Steps within participation. Steps within living. You do not need to turn each step into a psychological event. Life contains many neutral moments, neutral tasks, neutral actions, neutral decisions. When neutrality is allowed, energy is preserved. Attention remains available. Participation becomes more continuous, rather than interrupted by constant evaluation. Psychological weight often accumulates through constant evaluation. Am I doing enough? Am I doing this right? Am I progressing? Am I behind? Am I improving? Am I consistent? Am I motivated enough? Am I focused enough? These questions can create pressure that interrupts action, interrupts participation, interrupts momentum. But many actions do not require evaluation while they are happening. Evaluation can occur later if useful. Adjustment can occur later if needed. Not every moment must include commentary. Not every action must include interpretation. Sometimes action can simply occur, and that is enough. Doing things without making them heavy allows life to move more freely, allows energy to move more freely, allows attention to remain present, allows participation to feel natural, rather than forced, rather than pressured, rather than loaded with meaning. You can still care about what you are doing, still aim to do things well, still improve skills, still complete responsibilities, but without turning each action into proof of something about yourself, without turning each moment into measurement, without turning each step into evaluation. Participation becomes lighter when it is not constantly interpreted. Life becomes more workable when not everything is treated as important. Importance can exist without heaviness. Value can exist without pressure. Contribution can exist without tension. You can do meaningful things without constantly feeling burdened. You can do ordinary things without needing them to feel significant. You can move through daily life without constantly managing how everything feels internally. Doing things without making them heavy allows effort to exist without strain, allows action to exist without pressure, allows progress to occur without constant evaluation. You do not need to remove responsibility. You do not need to remove care. You do not need to remove intention. You only need to see where additional weight has been added unnecessarily, and where that weight can begin to soften. The task remains. The action remains. Participation remains. But the heaviness begins to fall away. And often, what remains is simpler than expected, more workable than imagined, more accessible than believed. You can do what needs to be done without turning everything into something heavy. And that makes participation possible, even on ordinary days, especially on ordinary days. Because life is often lived in ordinary moments, and ordinary moments do not need to feel heavy in order to matter. If this episode helped you see that everyday actions do not have to feel heavy in order to matter, consider subscribing to the channel. This space explores how life can continue moving forward through work, responsibilities, and daily tasks, without the mind adding extra pressure that turns simple things into something overwhelming. If this conversation resonated with you, liking the video helps more people discover a way of participating in life that feels more sustainable and less burdened. You can also share this with someone who may be carrying more internal pressure than they realize and could benefit from a lighter way of approaching what needs to be done. There are more episodes in this season that continue exploring how effort can remain steady while the unnecessary weight begins to fall away. Action can remain. Participation can remain. Progress can remain. But the heaviness does not have to remain. I'll see you in the next episode.